I have no money now. Woman says the Chase ATM ate her $2,700 deposit that never made it into her account. In a viral video posted just days before Christmas, TikTok user Isabella Diamond at Isabella Diamond Zero claims that $2,700 she deposited into a Chase ATM never arrived in her bank account. She was supposed to place a deposit on a new apartment, but she says she wasn't able to do so. Now, I don't know if she did this in cash, which she probably did. Like, to me, I feel like you should always like deposit like a good chunk of money via like a check into the bank or physically go inside the bank and hand it to a teller and get a receipt. Because I'll be frank, I simply don't really trust ATMs personally, mainly because I kind of view it similar to like a vending machine. It's like, how many times have you lost money in a vending machine? Too much for it to be okay, you know? So she says, "Hi. Yes, I have been crying and I think I have a pretty valid reason because Chase Bank just stole like $2,700 from me 2 days before Christmas." Damien says at the beginning of the video. Huh. Oh, wait, let's see.
Crying, and I think I have a pretty valid reason because Chase Bank just stole like $2,700 from me 2 days before Christmas. So I'm supposed to be putting down a deposit on an apartment today. And we got paid early because it's Christmas. My boss paid us a couple days early so we could have our checks before Christmas. I'm overdrawn in my account, so I needed my money today. So I took my
That kind of worries me that she was overdrawn on her account, meaning she doesn't really understand how to manage her finances, which scares me because then when something like this happens, is a massive emergency.
checks to the bank that my job uses and I cashed them and I took them to Chase and I've never ever once before had an issue with like Chase ATMs. I've had some issues with mobile deposits. I've never had an issue with the ATM. I always deposit my cash in the ATMs and it's been fine. So I deposited $2,700 into the ATM and maybe that was stupid, I don't know, but it's what's done is done. And the machine spit out this receipt that said like call this number to see if it went through. And so I was like, oh my god. So I checked my account balance and my account was still negative and there was nothing pending. So I went into the branch and the teller told me that we were probably gonna have to submit a claim. So she called customer service and submitted a claim, and they said that it was going to be at least a couple business days. And I told her that I have no money now, no gas, and I do deliveries for work sometimes, and I have one tonight at 4:15. I needed to put gas in my car for, and also I was supposed to go Christmas shopping after I got off work tonight, and put a deposit down on this apartment. So she called them back for me to like try to explain that like this is really urgent to try to expedite it and get it credited sooner. And basically like we're going back and forth with them. And eventually I'm on the phone with the supervisor and like listen to me, like I need this money now. Like I don't have a dollar in the world. Like oh my god. Like I really need this money. And whoever was on the phone told me I was not getting my money and weren't they'd done everything that they could and it was going to be 10 or more business days and that's just what it was. So I asked them, what do you propose that I do? Because now I have no money. You have all my money. You're a multi-billion dollar company and you have the money. What do you propose that I do? And they said, I'm not sure what you want me to say because at this point you're asking me to give you life advice. So, I don't know. Tag Chase, I'm not really sure what to do. I don't know how I'm going to get my money. I'm not sure really how I'm going to survive for these next 10 days. And it's Christmas, so I'm closing that account and maybe don't bank with Chase because they will steal your money right before Christmas.
That's pretty brutal and a bit tough to listen to because it's never a good feeling to listen to someone where they're not just poor, but they're negative. Like, your net worth is negative. You don't have money inside your account at all. You just literally lost all of the money that you had in hand. And pretty much you're kind of screwed for 10 days minimum. Like, it's a pretty tough situation. Now, if I was in her situation and that happened to me, what I would do, which I would not like, but it'd be like a band-aid. But what I would do would be putting my expenses on a credit card, which I hate, right? But I'd use that temporarily to simply go through day to day kind of thing, while at the same time finding what's ever in my place and selling it, like doing a yard sale to like raise as much cash as possible for the 10 days, right? So that I wouldn't have to keep using that credit card. Because this is a very big issue. And this is also why you never want to be in a situation where you're forced to literally put your life on a credit card, your living expenses on a credit card. You never want to be in a situation like that because that ends up becoming almost like habit after a couple of days, and you could really end up screwing yourself financially, even more so, where you might not be able to dig yourself out of that hole, especially with the high interest rates of credit cards. So that's why I say like try to like sell anything that I possibly can to raise as much cash as possible to get myself out of using the credit card so that I could like live on cash until the 10 days and then start building up my income and my cash pile once I get that money back. But yeah, this is a very scary situation. It's probably happened to more people than some might want to admit. Like this is why it is extremely important to have an emergency account for situations like this, and also so that you're never in a situation where you are negative. Like, the real issue here, well, I mean, yeah, obviously that her money was pretty much stolen, but she was already mishandling her finances before this situation, hence why she was in the negative, right? The fact that she was in the negative before this even happened is a massive, massive issue. Like, she really needs to understand how to manage her personal finances so that she's never put in a situation like this ever again. Like, this is why you need an emergency fund. This is why you need to keep your expenses less than what you make, right? You need that breather room. You do not want to be in her place right before Christmas getting slapped around by Chase Bank. Like, it's horrible. But let's check out some of this. So Diamond explains that her account was overdrawn, so she needed to put money into her account as soon as possible. Let's see. Users in the comment section were skeptical about her story. Like a lot of other commenters, I also do not believe the story, one user said. If there's a Venmo in the bio, don't fall for it, another commented, as the creator has her Venmo account in her bio. Now, here's the thing, right? I am going to give her the benefit of the doubt for this story, right? And if you stumble upon this, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, right? So I'm looking at it through the eyes of her actually having to deal with this situation. But again, I guess when you think about it, the tellers could have easily just pulled up security camera footage of her at the ATM depositing the money and just have given it to her. That could have been a situation as well. So let's see. Something is off, just doesn't sit right. I ain't buying it, other user said. In a second video, Diamond responded to the following comment left by user. I'm confused. You had cash that you needed, but you put it all in the ATM, they asked. So let's see.
Are really, like, incredibly mean. Like, incredibly mean. I'm not scamming. Not once in that video did I ask for money, so I'm not really sure, like, how this, like, I'm running game. I know that it was stupid for me to put that amount of money in the ATM. I realize that now. But I have never had an issue with cash deposits before in an ATM before, ever. I was extremely stressed out, just wanted to get my money in the bank. I was also, like, doing this while on my break from work, needed to get the money in, get back, like, run my errands, get back to work, and putting it in the ATM seemed like the quickest way to do it, and I've had no issues before, so that's just what I did. The money did not clear because I was overdrawn. I was $16 overdrawn, and I talked to the teller and I talked to customer service, and the transaction not going through was not because I was $16 overdrawn. The ATM simply did not process the deposit. It just took my money and didn't record any history of a transaction. You don't have to believe me. I don't frankly really care what a bunch of strangers on the internet think of this situation. I'm just trying to get in contact with anybody who works at Chase who can possibly help me. A lot of you are being incredibly cruel for no reason at all. That would be an incredibly elaborate lie for me to make up. I'm not sure why it's so hard to understand that I took the check to the bank that my job uses to cash it, because that's how you cash a check unless you go to Walmart or something like that. And then I took the cash to my bank, Chase, to deposit it, because if you deposit a check that's not with your same bank, my work and I don't use the same bank, then it's going to be on hold for a little bit, especially with the holidays, and I couldn't wait to get my money because I needed to pay a deposit for my apartment and buy Christmas presents and get gas and stuff. And I put the money into the bank because I needed it to be in my bank because I needed to do electronic transactions, like put the deposit on my apartment and pay my car insurance and stuff. Like, I don't know. That's just what it is. I don't feel like I, like, owe a bunch of strangers an explanation, but if you're gonna, like, accuse me of running game and being a scammer, like, that's just what it is. I don't know what to tell you, but that's, yeah.
I mean, that's like a pretty complicated like situation. So like it was an overcomplicated way to get paid, to cash it out, and then like basically she got a check from her boss, cashed it at the bank that her boss uses, the company uses, so that she could use that cash, bring it over to her bank physically, and then deposit it through an ATM. That seems like a lot of hassle. Like a lot of hassle. And this is also another thing, too. You typically can get like a check deposited, like like expedited pretty much, like right away by paying like sometimes maybe $4 extra and like a fee or whatever to get it processed immediately like that day or whatever, right? So, I mean, it's kind of weird that she took a check, cashed it out at the bank, then took that cash, drove it to another bank to then deposit it into the ATM of that bank, but not even to a teller. So, I don't know. Kind of weird. Let's see. Let's see some of these comments. Let's see. My wife was a banker for over 25 years with experience in many departments, and she firmly said that this story is bogus. If the woman says she deposited $2,700 in cash, there should have been $2,700 in the ATM because the ATMs are settled every day. The bank would have started an investigation immediately. There should have been a video recording showing said customer's physical actions. Like this is my kind of like viewpoint. Like, and again, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, right? Keep that in mind. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. But like Like you're physically in front of an ATM with a camera pointing at you to stop scammers and credit skimmers or whatever. So like they could have just checked to see if you actually deposited money physically, Like, and by the way, there's a lot of banks that have their ATMs inside the bank too. So, let's see, you may be dumb enough to deposit that much cash instead of going in and handing it to a teller, but I'm not dumb enough to totally believe this story. Happened to me before at Chase, had to file claim, money was returned, ATM malfunction, everything on camera. But again, think about it. Everything on camera. And she basically said that she wasn't going to get the money, but that she had to wait 10 days for the investigation. Who feeds 2.7 thousand cash into an ATM when the branch is open? If not open, I'd wait for it to open. I only trust ATMs to give me money and never take any. Jeez. Do not believe this. Chase is a code hard bank. I only bank at locally owned credit unions. Honestly, like if you want like a personal bank, that's not a bad option. Like credit unions will typically take care of you. Worked on ATMs for 37 years. It didn't eat her deposit. It was either her error for not using it properly or it's in the ATM. The old depositors might have shredded a deposit, but it was always in the machine. The new machines can sense a deposit being made. In some cases, they even image the deposit. So I think she is running a scam. If she cashed her check with a teller, she could have deposited part of or all of the check into her account. Let's see. Reasons I believe this is fake. 1. At most banks, you can't insert that many bills at a time. 2. You don't get a receipt that says, call this number to see if your transaction posted. You put in your PIN before inserting. It's already linked to your account. Maybe there was a hold on it. Either it went through or it didn't. 3. You have to confirm the amount you inserted is correct. Otherwise, it will refund you the bills. And at least there's a camera in the ATM that can probably confirm or disprove her story. She is lying. She still has the money. She needs to sue her for making false statements against the bank. Fraudulent statements. She needs to be held legally accountable. Don't worry, her parents will bail her out. Blah, 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 blah. I've never understood why anyone would use an ATM for a deposit as it doesn't count your money or give you receipts. Blah, blah, blah. I can't speak to how this particular ATM works, but years ago I was the ATM custodian in a bank branch. If it was during banking hours and was inside the ATM, the drive-thru was served by armed guards. I had no access. I would have gladly just audited the ATM on the spot and fixed her problem. There's no reason fixing it should take that long. Now, here's the thing. Some people are mentioning, oh, she went through like these people went through like a drive-thru or whatever. What she's pretty much saying is that there's probably an ATM connected to her bank on the outside. She walked to that ATM and literally in hand, where anyone around can just like see her doing this, deposit $2,700 in cash. Which, by the way, not exactly a smart thing to do, even if this is true. Like, can you imagine standing outside of a bank holding nearly 3 grand in cash where anyone can just walk by and do who knows what, you know? So you needed rent, deposit, gas, and had to go Christmas shopping 2 days before Christmas and fed a machine green money into your overdrawn account from a check you cashed at a different bank. If that is all true, you may need help with financial planning. Let's see. Do not use banks. Anyone that chooses a bank over a credit union needs their head examined. Now, I'd say out of all the things that you probably shouldn't trust, just in my personal opinion, would probably be Wells Fargo because they literally created fake customer accounts of existing customers, right? So it's pretty screwy, right? Now, here's the thing. I would be okay with putting my money in pretty much any bank or pretty much in like any sort of stock like platform as well, as long as they have some sort of paperwork showing that they have some form of insurance in case something were to go horribly wrong, right? Otherwise, I feel a little bit iffy. Now, the problem is some credit unions might give you a good return on your money, some of them might not. You might want to put your money in a high interest savings account, or you might not. You might want to put your money into something like Robinhood, because I think they're paying like 4% on your cash right now. But also, I would be okay with Robinhood simply because they also provide some form of insurance or evidence that they do have insurance that would protect their customers, right? And anytime someone like sells like securities, they are looked very heavily by the SEC, etc. So it's always something that you gotta choose where to really place your money, how to use your money, all that kind of stuff, right? Like now, personally, the one thing that I would definitely not do, obviously, after seeing FTX, is put money that I cannot lose, that I cannot afford to lose, into a crypto exchange, right? A stock market exchange, again, is a little bit different because they might have some form of insurance, specifically since they're kind of like dealing with securities. But a crypto exchange is not regulated at all. They probably don't have enough cash on the books, anyways, so you're basically playing fire with like no water around. So that's kind of like a sketchy situation. I also wouldn't really try to deposit money into an ATM. That just seems kind of like foolish to me. By the way, I don't really see the point of actually depositing cash into a bank at all, really, because I don't know. If you're dealing with cash, why not just keep everything in cash? But, people have their different kind of points of views. But, yeah. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. If you stumble upon this, feel free to give your thoughts on this. But one thing's for sure, and this is a fact, she has basically no clue how to actually manage her personal finances, like literally at all. Which, by the way, if you want to learn how to get out of debt, go down below or go to 40inbox.com.